Morning. My name is Raymond Armstrong, and I am serious 2020. I am a candidate for President of the United States, and sometimes I think it's more therapy than anything else. I do have a lot of opinions, and I got a lot of thought. And a lot of what comes out of me has to come out. It just has to come out because I've said it before, I'll say it again. I've been angry for more than 50 years. I'm sitting in a beautiful place right now as far as I'm concerned. Matter of fact, the truth about it is I was probably conceived about 600 feet from here. And it is beautiful. Warm day, sunny, mild, no hard breezes or whatever, but our country is in a storm. I don't care about what President Trump has done. What he did last Monday was the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody do. But I am concerned about our country. I'm a Vietnam veteran. You can see it right there. U.S. Navy, Vietnam veteran. I served in country, so all you guys say, oh, what ship were you on? I wasn't. I was in country. I was with a helicopter attack squadron. We've discussed that before. But I'm going to say this, and I think that probably most of my Vietnam veteran brothers, especially the ones that got out and maybe some of the ones that stayed in, because I may have heard comments from them that they didn't go on out with a uniform on because they were afraid to or were told not to cause trouble. But I know what the sting of discrimination feels like. It started when I came home. And basically, it kind of relieved itself after a while. But I can tell you, it hurt. But it's nothing. It is nothing compared to what people of color have endured all of their lives. And if you don't believe that, if you really don't believe that, go live as a homeless person. Go beg in front of a store for money or food. And dress the part and see how you are treated. Yes, there are a few people who come along and go, you poor soul, and give you something, but most of them will look at you like, what is your problem? And that's as a white person. I have seen discrimination in my life from police chasing and beating people on Fort Lauderdale Beach in the 60s, early 60s, to a fight at a junior high football game because I went to one of the first integrated schools in probably the state of Florida, but I know Broward County. And to me, to think about that day that we actually cleared the bench because one of our players was being verbally and physically assaulted. And we were penalized for it. They weren't, we were. And wondering why we cleared that bench. Well, that person of color didn't matter at that time. It came to a realization that that person of color was one of us. He wasn't a black man. He wasn't the N-word. He wasn't any of those things that he was being called out on that field. He was a team member, and we defended him. Every one of us. I don't know how many other of my high school classmates that looked at that and thought about it, but I have quite a bit over the years. And I can say this, it was amazing. I've been around black people since I moved to Florida, obviously, and I've seen all kinds of different things and everything, but I can say this. In 1995, I became an apprenticeship instructor, and my class was quite diverse, and it got more diverse as time went on. And I can say this quite honestly. As much as I tried to teach that diverse class, they taught me. They really made me think that there are so many fine and wonderful young men and women in this country that are being dissed because of their race or color, maybe their religion, maybe because they're Muslim. I had a kid in class who was a Muslim. And one day I was following him. He had an airborne sticker on the back of his car, leaving school. So the next time we're in class, I went to him. I plugged him aside. I says, "Were you airborne?" He goes, "Yes, I was." "Where'd you serve?" "Served in Iraq, 2 tours. And I got out." I said, "Bless you, brother. Thank you for your service." It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim. It didn't matter to me that he's a Muslim. It didn't matter to me if he was whatever. He served his country, and he served his country honorably. I have a young woman that I talk to on a regular basis, and I got it because of the VA screwing me again for my benefits, not my benefits, for my treatments, all right? I'm not going to lie, I've got PTSD, and I'm being treated for it. So why should I lie? I've been discriminated against for that, too. And probably some of you are going, "Oh, you're just a weak motherfucker because you have PTSD. You're not man enough." And I can hear somebody saying that right now. I can hear a couple of guys in my local union saying that right now. And I'm going to tell you, if you watch this, you two, I think you know who you are. I'm not a fascist, but you can't even have a sentence without cutting somebody down and calling them names. That makes you real men, doesn't it? Just like you know who. The story I want to relate today, and this is a story to me, and first I'll talk about my friend. She was born in Hialeah. And that tells me something. It may not tell a lot of you if you're watching this, but you in South Florida, you know what that means. Okay. And she's of mixed race, which a lot of Cuban Americans, which she is, are of mixed race. That's not a problem. I've had them in my class too. But this girl served 20 years in the military, in the Army. She served 4 tours in Iraq and 4 tours in Afghanistan, which is totally ridiculous because some of you cowards who call yourself patriots didn't serve too, to relieve the strain on our people. She lives in a small town. When all the bullshit started a couple weeks ago, she was walking. She walks every day. She's medically discharged from the Army. She walks every day. And people who would say good morning to her, or neighbors, stuff like that, wouldn't even look at her. She says the only saving grace, and she told me this, she's being very honest, because I think she helps heal herself by healing people like me. That one person who her children have not been in class with for several years, a second grade teacher, smiles and says good morning to her every morning. Bless that person. So what's it like growing up black in America? I don't know. I know what it's like to be a Vietnam veteran. Not now, because all you people have choo-hoyed and said, "Oh boy, you Vietnam veterans are the greatest thing in the world." Yeah, fuck you. Why did you do that in 1972 or 1971 when I came home? Or when I went to a Vietnam Veterans Against the War rally. Not a rally, a meeting. And there were people in there declaring that we need to be violent, we need to do this, we need to do that, screaming all this stuff and disturbing the meeting. And I says, well, I can't have that. Well, later at the trial, those boys that were doing all that stuff were actually law enforcement of some kind. Provocateurs. I think the same thing's happened. It may not, but it's on the left and the right. It's an equal thing. It's not something that's wrong. We, as a country, have to look and stop and think about everything we do, because we live, and I don't care what Trump is going to make it the greatest in the world. It is the greatest country in the world, and it has been since the day it was founded, just on the idea of freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of the press, the right to bear arms, and the 14th Amendment, which says all citizens, whether natural or naturalized, are entitled to the same rights. And it goes on to say more, but that's a true thing. Why can't we adhere to that? Why can't we just read the Constitution? Why can't we just look at it and say, wait a minute, because he's a Muslim, do we discriminate against him? Do we discriminate against a black man because he's black, or a black woman, or girl, or child? Do we tell somebody that was sexually molested by anybody, priest, police officer, Boy Scout, troop leader, whatever, that they're crazy, that they're lying, that they're feeling something that's not right? Those people, the ones that were molested, have a right to go out and protest, and they should carry a rope with them, because there's a few people out there who need to be hung for that. But I wanted to relate the story of Rodney Lambert. I met Rodney Lambert in a class when I was trying to get my master's license. He was trying to get his journeyman license. He'd already been out of school a goodly time. He had to have a journeyman's license to top out to be a journeyman electrician, journeyman wireman. When I met Rodney, he was in class with me, and oh boy, this guy is typical. I'm just going to say that, typical. Well, lo and behold, not long after that, Rodney came to work for me. Rodney couldn't get to work, so he asked, could I pick him up? I'm kind of on the way, and I said, sure, we live pretty close together, so I'd pick Rodney up. Well, Rodney got my truck the first day, and he kicked that seat back, and he leaned it all the way back, and he's sitting there, and I go, what are you doing? He says, man, we're cruising. I says, we don't cruise in my truck, we're going to work. He says, but this is how people ride. I says, not in my truck. He says, well, I like riding like this. So I thought, how can I get him? So I took a Hank Williams tape, I threw it in the tape deck and let it go. And he goes, what the hell's that? And I said, that's Hank Williams, good music. He said, well, I really don't care for that. And I says, too bad. I don't care for you sitting like that. I says, make you a deal. I won't play Hank Williams. You put your chair up. I'll put something good on. Anything you want. First compromise we had. First day, not within 20 minutes of meeting each other. As work went on, him and I talked, and he's bitching because he has to do this and he has to do that. And I said to him one day, he's talking about race, and I said to him one day, and I says, Rodney, you think I'm a bigot? And he goes, yeah, all white people are bigots. And I says, wow. I said, that's a big statement, and you're right. I probably am bigoted in a lot of ways. There's a lot of people I don't like, and that's bigotry, all right? As we're working, we're discussing, it's starting to get heated. I finally said to him, can I settle down and ask you a question? And I asked him, have you ever called a white person or a Cuban or a Haitian or anybody else disparaging names, like the word you hate so much? He thought a minute and he goes, yes, I have. And I says, why would you say that I'm a bigot for using words like that or thinking things like that or acting that way when you do the same thing? And I says, all black people do. Everybody has prejudices. It's a natural thing for human beings. I'm prejudiced against rat electricians. Sorry to say that, brothers and sisters, but I look at it and go, why would somebody want to make less money than me? Doesn't make sense to me, but hey, they got their beliefs and they can do what they want. Maybe they didn't have the opportunities I had or the opportunities that a lot of brothers and sisters have had of mine. But anyway, Rodney and I like Rodney. We got pretty close about things. Worked together good. And he needed to get his journeyman's license to top out. And I started working with Rodney every lunchtime. Sometimes we sit after work, he'd have a question about calculation or something, he'd be thinking about it, and we'd do it. We did it during work. Sorry, boss. Yeah, screw you, because that's my job, to train young people, okay? Train somebody with lesser knowledge than I do. And lo and behold, Rodney took his test, and he come to work, and he was pissed off. He passed. He was pissed off because a whole bunch of our less than wireman brothers, who in my concern should have been go to the local union and classify him as a 5th-year apprentice on a roster. Just say that's what they are, or no classification, because they didn't certify. They're not qualified, as far as I'm concerned. Any of you boys that's topped out in the last 15 years that hasn't got a license, you're not qualified. I don't care what anybody says. You are not qualified to be a journeyman wireman. Standards are the most important thing we got. But anyway, back to Rodney. I said, what are you angry about? You passed. He says, but the other guys didn't have to take the test. They gave them their tickets. And I looked down and says, that's no reason to be mad, Rodney. He says, why? I did all that work. I says, Rodney, did all that work pay off for you? Did you pass the test? He goes, yes. And I says, you should be proud of yourself. You should be very proud of yourself. And you should be able to look at those guys and say to them, you know, I went through school with you guys, and I got my test, and you got topped out without it. You're less than I am. And I'm going to tell you, that's discrimination. I agree. But if you don't qualify to do something, then you shouldn't be there. My point. Sorry, that comes right out of Vietnam, because every man I served with Al 3 was qualified to be there and proved it every damn day. Standard? Yes. Well, we finished the job, and Rodney got laid off, and he left town. He went to work somewhere out of town. I think he was up in the Detroit area. I'm not sure. Anyway, I stopped by to see Miss Geneva one day, the secretary for the apprenticeship. And she told me Rodney passed. He died. He had leukemia or something. And that hurt. That hurt. To have such a fine young man who worked so hard to accomplish the goal that he started 5-6 years before. And then only to exercise it for a few years and to pass on. It's sad. Rodney was a good man. He was a good brother. I relate this to you because you got to understand something. I look at people and I see color, I see race, I see a lot of things. Up here in Michigan, there's all kinds of gals, especially if you go south into Detroit. There's a lot of gals running around with the hijabs on and stuff. Who cares? Does it really matter? Some, I've actually seen them with face coverings and stuff. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Everybody wears a mask today. Well, they're supposed to, but a lot of assholes don't. But stupid is as stupid does. That's all I got to say. But why do we look at somebody and automatically discriminate against them? I don't look at black men in fear or black women in fear. I do have a problem when I see some asshole with a gun strapped on his side. I watch them. I watch them closely because I don't know what their intent is with that gun. And I don't really see any reason for them to carry it open like that or even carry it concealed. To me, you don't need a weapon to defend yourself. To me, you don't need it. It's only a danger. 40,000 people die in this country from gun wounds or gunfire a year. Sink in, 40,000. Some of them are self, some of them aren't. That's more than we killed with the flu last year. Any more than we kill with the coronavirus. So I guess my message is this. I stand for the rights of all people. I stand for the rights of all religions, and I have freedom. You have the right to practice your beliefs in any way, shape, or form that you want to. If you want to come out in the woods and cavort nakedly, I don't care. Maybe you want to tell me where you're at so I could join. That might sound like fun. I ain't much to look at naked, but hey, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we realize that we are of one world, that we are one species. And if you want to get right down to it, if I ask you right now, if you were created in the image of God, as it says in the Bible, why are there black people? Why are there white people? Why are there green people? Why are there yellow people? Why are there any other different kinds of people in the world if we were created in the image of God? And you believe that. If you believe that and you don't associate that with the real world, then you are missing something in life. Something in life that is totally, totally ignorant. I'm sorry. I kind of get thinking and to the protesters who are peaceful, God bless you. To the white folks that are peaceful, God bless you. God bless Gretchen Whitmer. God bless any governor who has sat with the protesters. God bless any police officer who has stood with the protesters. God bless any governor, senator, or whatever who has stood with the protesters and condemn left or right the people who are rioting. I don't agree with that. Don't agree with it at all. But I can say this, and if you don't believe it, if I'm standing in a group of 100 people and I pick up a rock and throw it, somebody else is going to throw one. If somebody else throws one, another person's going to throw one. Pretty soon there's all kinds of rocks, 100 rocks flying. And if you don't believe that, try it someday. It takes is one to cause a problem. We are all part of this earth. And no matter what you believe, we will be part of this earth for as long as this earth exists and past. When this earth stops sustaining life, which it may, sooner than later, we will still be part of this earth. We're symbiotic. We're no different than the animals. We're no different than the cows or the horses or the sheep. We're no different than the birds in the air flying around. We are symbiotic to this earth. The thing with us, they know how to respect their environment. They know how to respect themselves. They do argue, if you watch them. Like watching the hummingbirds here, they fight all the time. I think they love each other, but they sure do chase each other. The point being, discrimination has no place in this world. Working against somebody else's rights has no place in this world. And calling people degenerate names, like some of you like to do, starting with Top Man, has no place in this world. I can make an excuse for everything that I've done in my life. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and I've done it all. Some of it I can accept myself, and some of it I'm ashamed of. Some of it I'm kind of wishy-washy about. Should I or shouldn't I? But I can tell you this. I have learned from my life, and I'm still learning. So today, if you're working, or tomorrow, whenever you watch this, if you do watch it, and you go to work and there's a person of color, it doesn't matter what color, walk up to them and say, hi, my name is, and I've never met you. Or, hi, Bob, how are you doing? Or, hi, Raphael, how you doing? Or, hi, George, how you doing? Or, hi, Kanika, anybody. Say hi, shake their hand. You might find out they're a lot of fun to be around. You might find out that you really like them. You might find out that friends are what you make them. They're not given to you. You got to make them. I'm learning how to do that again, too. Thank you. You all have a good day. I'll post this today. And I'm going to tell you, all right, I believe in my country. I'm proud of my service. And I'm proud of the men I served with. And I'm proud of the majority of my Union brothers. Thank you again. Have a good day. Ray Armstrong. Independent. Not Democrat, not Republican. Independent. I hate both of them. For President of the United States. I hope I can change something. Even if it's myself. Bye.